Hi, Rhonda here. Welcome back to the Talcraft Tarot channel. This is an example of what a 5-card reading video would be like if you ordered one through my website. What you see here is the Witch's Tarot deck. It's by Ellen Dugan and Mark Evans. They hold all the copyrights, but permissions can be obtained through llewellynpublishing.com to use them in videos like this. The deck has been shuffled 7 times. Why 7? I don't know, it just seemed right. I would also like to thank C for allowing us to use the reading in the blog and website here today. She didn't have a particular question, so this is also a very good example of how an open reading would work. Sometimes people don't have a particular question or concern or topic they want to focus on. A lot of times we just keep the reading open and see what happens. And in my experience, sometimes those are some of the best readings that can happen. So if you're not really sure or you don't have a really strong topic in mind, just let me know and we'll do an open reading instead. Now, this first card represents lessons from the past. Oops, sorry about the light flare there. Lessons from the past, things that you probably already know that you can bring forward to help you now. This card is a look at the current situation to give you ideas and understanding about the energies moving through your life right now. This is ideas to move forward, ways to put your best foot forward and help you create the path and future that you want, not predict what's going to actually happen. This card is advice and choices. If this set of 3 cards represents the path that you're on now, then this card gives you advice and choices to help you steer things in a different direction if you're not happy with the direction things are already going. This card is what I call the alternatives card. It gives you other open energy flows. If you're not happy with the way things are going and you'd like to steer things in a different direction, then this is another direction that's easily open to you. Anything is, of course, open to you, but this is the path of least resistance as far as the energy is concerned. Let's just go ahead and do a 7-card reading. That's energies that are helping you, and these are energies that may be challenging you. The first thing I do in any reading, and again, this will be a good example of a video reading, but it'll also give you an idea of how all my readings work, be it email, in which case I would just write down what I'm saying to you right now, or be it in person. This 7-card layout is the one I use in all of my in-person single individual reading sessions. The first thing we do is we look at the cards as a whole. There's one major arcana card, the Death card. The rest of the cards are all from the minor arcana. The minor arcana portion of the deck, as you may know, is structured similarly to our modern playing deck. It has 4 suits, aces, numbers, kings, queens, the whole 9 yards. Of the 4 possible suits, 3 of the 4 possible suits are showing. When that happens, I read it as an indicator of balance, that the different elements of your life are in balance. I also try to take a look at what's missing. The missing suit is the suit of wands. I read wands as representing your relationship with yourself, personal growth, philosophy, spirituality, those sort of things. So because it's missing from the card spread today, it could be that that part of things is missing from your thinking or from the way you're traveling right now. So that may be a little piece of advice to maybe think of bringing that element into your life more, to bring things even more into balance and make things even more comfortable for you. That's pretty much it. Oh, when you have one major arcana card and the rest minor in a 5 to 7 card layout, I read that as meaning sort of business as usual, normal ups, normal downs, things being sort of as expected. The reason for that is the ratio of major cards to minor cards in the deck is roughly like this. The exact math doesn't work out. But this gives you a rough estimate of how the cards are statistically expected in the deck. So I read that as expected energy. If you have been under stress, then this is good news. If you're under stress, this may be a hint or an indication that the stress is over the worst of it and things will be returning to a normal ups and downs as expected sort of energy. So good news there depending on your background and context. Lessons from the past is the Page of Swords. All the page cards have to do with learning. Swords have to do with action, also your relationship with authority. Here I get a sense of something happening when you were much younger. Lessons learned the hard way, perhaps in high school, perhaps run-ins with rules, teachers, maybe even older siblings. Lessons learned the hard way is coming through here. So if there's anything like that that's happened in the past, stop, take a minute, try and remember all the things you've learned from the School of Hard Knocks, as they say. Because whatever that hard-won, practical, down-to-earth, bumps and bruises, learned it the hard way sort of lesson is the key thing to help you now. Now being, of course, the Death card, which has quite a reputation in books and movies, that sort of thing. That's the you're going to go out and get hit by a bus and terrible things are going to happen card. Actually, that is not the case at all. The Death card classically has to do with change, a life-altering change in particular. I see this card all the time at bachelorette parties. Because a marriage is something that changes your life forever. You're never going to be single again, or if it's a second marriage, you'll never have been married just once again. Any life-altering permanent change that you can't come back from is represented by the Death card. It's not something to be afraid of because the change can, as in our bachelorette party example, be something that's very good and very hopeful. Still, a lot of people are afraid of change, so that may be part of why the Death card has come to be associated with that idea of permanent change. More likely, it's from the cultural references in medieval Europe when the cards were developed, because they had different attitudes about death, and it was more transformational. You move on to the next stage of life, you move on to heaven. Those sort of ideas are surrounding this card in a cultural perspective. So there's some things you've learned the hard way in the past that can help you now through a period of change that's either started or may start soon for you. It's not necessarily a bad change. My sense of it is that it's something good and something to be embraced, graduating from school would be an example, or finding a new job would be an example. There's lots of different things that could be represented by this kind of life-altering change. And it's not all bad by any means. In fact, in this case, it does feel very promising. The King of Pentacles, or the King of Coins, is just what you would expect. Coins represent the physical realm, jobs, wealth, career, the very tangible nuts and bolts of life. King has to do with leadership, so this card is classically associated with things like job promotions, taking on new responsibilities, and leadership. So whatever changes may be happening in your personal life or philosophical life, I would take this card to mean that career is good. You can kind of back burner that for a little while and focus on the internal philosophy sort of things that may be missing right now. The Five of Swords also has to do with change and transformation, so things are not going to be boring by any means according to this. You may feeling a little overwhelmed by all the change that's going on or may soon go on. But rest assured, it'll end up well. And it won't be too overwhelming, perhaps, because look at the other card, the Ace of Cups. That is a card that symbolizes sufficiency, creation, creativity, a cup that runs over. So for all the changes and all the hard lessons in the past and all the changing and transforming going on, it's more like a caterpillar becoming a butterfly than anything dark or tragic at all. So this is a change, a transformation to be celebrated and welcomed. So congratulations on that front. I don't know, I don't get a sense of whether the change and transformation is more on the personal side of life or more on the career side of life. Just that it's nothing to be afraid of. And it feels like a very warm, welcomed change to be celebrated, not feared. The energies working for you is the Queen of Swords. Queens also have to do with leadership and sort of assuming leadership and assuming power. Swords, even older than their relationship to authority and culture, sort of representations they've taken on more recently. The older meaning is associated with the element of air. So it's very intellectual, very mental, sometimes very action-oriented. The Queen of Swords in particular is asking you to step in and take your power and take your authority and be authoritative in these new changes. Be confident. Have confidence in yourself. You have what it takes to fulfill your new roles and fulfill them well. Things working against you is the Seven of Swords. The Seven of Swords is kind of a mischievous character. It always reminds me of the Mundungus character from the Harry Potter movies. You know, the petty thief, the mischievous person that you kind of have to rely on but can't always be trusted. And I think this card is very simple, very benign, nothing to worry about at all. Just a friendly heads up to make sure that you keep your head up and eyes open for any mischievousness. I want to associate this with work and just like benign office politics. So just, a little watch out there. Mind where your stapler is, sort of stuff. At the end of a video reading, or actually any reading, I'll stop for a minute and see if there's any other intuitive impressions that come through. It may relate to your cards, it might relate to your question if you have one, or it might not. Often, for whatever reason, this part starts with colors, so I just kind of roll with that. The first thing that catches my eye is all the reds on the death card. And I also get the impression of carnelian or red jasper. One of those very common, inexpensive gemstones. They're associated with the root chakra, rooting, grounding, staying calm. If you find that you feel all of this change is becoming overwhelming for you, you might want to either wear some reds and oranges, or find a piece of carnelian or red jasper to wear or to hold. It might be calming or soothing for you. The yellow also catches my attention. I get the mental impression of sunflowers. I don't know if that holds any meaning for you or not, so I'll leave that with you to decide. And that's all that's coming through right now. This is just a very quick exemplar sort of reading. If we had a chance to talk more, then more might come through. With a video reading, I don't usually do what I call the sigil element, where I draw what I'm seeing with my intuition. That just doesn't fit this format very well, but it is always included in email readings and often included in in-person readings. And to wrap up, I always end with a positive affirmation. This is something you can use in meditation practice or just, think to yourself every now and then and see if it's something you enjoy. See if it's an idea that fits you right now. And right now, the affirmation I'm getting is, I am powerful. It's going to be okay. And the focus of the affirmation is the Queen of Swords. Assume your power. You have what it takes to make it through the life changes that may be headed your way, or life changes that you may want to start or initiate. So have confidence in yourself. You have the knowledge and the courage to pull this off and to make it happen. So again, affirmation is, I am powerful. And thank you for sharing your reading with us. It's a little mini example reading. I know sometimes the readings are a little more in-depth, especially for a first time working together. Sometimes they self-adjust and adjust the reading to suit the situation. For an example reading like this, it does tend to be a little bit shorter and lighter. And that's all that's coming through right now. I hope this helps a little bit. And we'll talk to you soon. We'll be having lots more readings, lots more card examples, lots more informative videos coming to both the YouTube channel and to the website at www.taocriftarot.com. So I hope to see you at taocrafttarot.com sometime soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.